Hey guys, welcome back to the Pistonhead podcast. On this week's episode, we have another Formula Drift pro. Well, kind of, he's still a pro in my books, taking a little bit of time off, but we have Geoff Stoneback on. Super stoked to have him on. Great conversation we had. We talked about S chassis. We talked about why he left Formula Drift, why he's coming back to Formula Drift, when it's happening, possibly what car. We talk about all of the craziness that is being a Formula D driver. We get to the grassroots versus pro debate, because we can't let that one slide. We got to talk about that with everybody. We talk about what it's like being a dad and drifting. We talk about a bunch of stuff. It was one of my favorite ones we've had so far, and just an awesome conversation. So make sure to listen in on the whole thing, because it's just a wicked episode.
Yeah, it's my bad, dude.
Yeah, I'm like, you're just there. You're literally just there.
I know. Thanks for the time, man. I'll see you later.
That was awesome. 30-second podcast and done. biggest clickbait podcast ever, where it's like, I'm having Geoff Stoneback on. That's 30 seconds.
Yeah. That's funny.
So you got a glass of Jameson on the go, or?
No, currently right now I'm being an adult and drinking some water.
I was gonna say, I'm being an adult too. I got a pot of coffee, so.
I actually need that, man. It's been a long day at work.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would be super interested to find out how much you work, because I had no idea until we started talking just before this.
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of stuff. Like I work at sales at Turn 14. So basically from 9 in the morning till 6 or 7 at night. Turn 14 distribution is like a wholesaler. So we do like business to business. So I was talking with a lot of shops. All my shops are really cool. Like they build rad cars, which I'm like stoked about, because it's cool to like, I don't know, I guess be like an enthusiast as well.
Yeah.
And see like the work they're doing. Cause it's like, we can feed each other the ideas, stuff like that. That's like my day-to-day job, 9 to 5 type deal. But then afterwards, I like go to my shop a lot, work on my 6 drift cars, half work, half don't.
That's an addiction, man. After 4, it becomes an addiction.
Yeah, I feel like I joke with one of my good friends who I share a shop with, Dan Popovich. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm a 240 hoarder right now. So it's like, I literally have 2 S13s, 2 S14s, 2 15s just sitting in my shop. And then like the Hoonigan 350Z, that's like sitting at the shop too. My buddy Dan's got his 1J S13, so it's like Nissan Central over there.
How did you guys get the? Can you tell me how you got the S15s across the border, or was it?
So no, I don't want to say how.
No,
I
fine.
got
That's
them.
Fine. Because I'm always curious when, like we've got our 34s up here now. We actually already swapped the 2J into one, just to piss everybody off. But,
I know what the hell, man.
Right? But I'm always curious because I've talked to people and they're like, yeah, I've got an S15, or I've got an R33 or an R34. I'm like, all right, like how many pieces did it come in? Because I know that's one of the ways is like guys will have just ship a chassis and then ship all the parts separate, and they kind of just nobody's gonna check a absolutely bare chassis.
Yeah, mine. Trump should build this wall faster because mine were sent to Mexico.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And they were brought up. They weren't brought up by the cartel, so just a friend brought them up, and now they're just sitting in my shop.
And then you're like, yeah, okay, well, these are here. You can store these now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And like people always ask me, they're like, "Yo, are they street legal?" It's like, are you not to be a dickhead, but I'm like, are you dumb?
Well,
you know what I mean?
I think it depends on how ballsy you are, really.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I mean, there's certain ways like I wouldn't ever cut a VIN off, put a VIN on.
No,
you know what I mean?
It's not worth it.
Yeah, because that would definitely get me and my actual like legitimate business in trouble.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's ways around it. Dealer tags, repair tags.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I haven't ever I've driven them on the street, and like my wife and I we cruise together in them, but I've never posted it online. You know what I mean? Because it's like
it's not worth it.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I might soon, but it's just like I don't know. and I'm not that type. I don't know.
Do you think once your, what is it, 25-year ban is up, it'll be like, okay, perfect, like down to the DMV, we're doing this, like it's all legit
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I have all the paperwork and stuff like that. And it's funny because like the red one that I have, my daughter's like, that's my car, and I was like, look, when you're 16, you can have this thing legally.
Yeah,
So,
that works out well. That works out really well.
yeah, it works out well. So that one I might not drift just to keep it in one piece for. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, it's just simple. If you know what you're doing, like you can bring them over. Um, I don't know.
yeah. Do you find there's a huge difference like in progression with the S13, S14, S15? Or they're
Uh,
pretty much the same with just kind of minor tweaks? Because I know like essentially they're almost the same car through and through, like with minor changes.
yeah, no, they're definitely. I mean, every year it gets newer. There's less rust, and they probably definitely like less drift hored out and smashed up.
Yeah. What
But
about the
as far
actual like mechanics of drifting them?
uh,
While you're driving it, can you know, like if you were blindfolded or somebody put you into a car and was like, "Hey, I'm not going to tell you what you're driving," would you be able to pick out an S13, 14, or 15?
oh, in a heartbeat.
Oh,
I
really?
mean, the 15's easy because it's like, all right, I'm getting on the opposite side. Like if I reach for the shifter, in a
Yeah.
15 and hit the door, I'd be like, oh, well, I know what I'm
Well,
driving.
fuck, I didn't think of
But,
that.
but like going from 13 to 14, like 13s are, I feel like are way lighter.
Yeah.
Um, and even just like sitting in it, I can tell a difference.
Yeah.
I've had like a lot of 13, or I had a lot of 14s. So like when I'm in a 14, I'm just like, all right, I'm in a
This
14.
is home.
Like if you put me in a car and I couldn't touch the door, couldn't close the door, but just sat in it, that might be a different story.
Okay.
But if you like blindfolded me and put me in a car and I shut the door, I'd be like, oh, I'm in a 14.
Yeah.
If that door weighs 100 pounds, I'm in a 14.
I can tell by the clunk of the door.
I know, right?
Yeah, there is a commercial up here in Canada where I think it was for Canadian Tire, and it had this guy, and he like a buddy of his is wrenching on his car, and he's torquing the lug nuts, and he goes up and he stares at it. He's like, "Yep, that's the right torque." And then it was like, so and so can tell the torque of a lug nut just by looking at it.
Yeah,
I can tell a gen of a Sylvia of a 240 or Nissan just by the clunk of the door.
I know, right? Yeah, and the suspension once you like put it to lock and turn.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. That's another solid point. Is just the stock angle. But do
Yeah,
you have a preference as to which one you'd go with? I guess
I
you've done
mean,
enough 14s, but
yeah, but 14 is like the car I started drifting in.
okay.
So that like I'll always have a 14. You know what I mean? I'll always have one as a drift car. That's like the car I'm used to. You could probably put me in any 14, whether it's a really really shitty missile car or like a pro FD car, and I'd like rip in it. I just know how it reacts, how it feels, and everything like that.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that makes sense. If you do it enough, you kind of know. You know where your pivot point is. You know how it's going to initiate. Doesn't matter what angle kit's on it or what size engine's in it. It's going to be roughly the same way to kind of progress through the turn.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I don't know, like drifting in a 14 is like home.
Yeah,
Drifting in a 13 sort of like, all right, well, this is semi the same, but it feels way different when I transfer this way, at a certain track like Club Blues. I mean, I like help them with like the drift clinics and stuff like that.
yeah.
So when I'll hop in someone's 13, I'm like, holy shit, like, all right, I'm not in a S14. You
Mm.
know what I mean? So,
It's close
but
enough where you're like, okay, everything I know, I can transfer like 60 to 70% of this. Because like as much as I'm into drifting, I know very little about the S chassis, which is
really?
sacrilegious. Yeah, it's not in Canada. They're so, not that they're hard to find, but they rust out so quick, and any of the ones that aren't rusted are so fucking smashed. And
Hmm.
I have this aversion to building cars that other people build, so I don't. The best way to explain it is like up until recently, I had a massive green mohawk because I was that guy. I was like,
No way,
yeah,
dude.
dude. Oh yeah. I've got to be that like I come from a big family, so like you need the attention, right? Like I've got a ton of siblings, so it's like, oh, you got to stand out to get attention from mom, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
that progressed into me, now and building cars where it's like I don't want to build if somebody else has built it, I don't want to touch it. Like that's sorry, it's okay, cool, you did it, awesome. My turn to do something else. So for me, the S chassis is the ultimate. Somebody else did it. Like I don't think anything. There's nothing that has been done that hasn't been done to an S chassis.
No, I agree with you. But I mean, regarding that, then what are you building now? Like
Uh,
what?
an '88 Ford Thunderbird Turbo Coupe.
Oh my god.
Serious, because it's a
You're
Fox
going.
body chassis, right?
Yeah, you're going opposite direction than what I was thinking, but
Man, no, 16 feet long, just boaty as hell. It's great. I love it.
running like 25K springs.
Yeah, they're. I actually, I ground control hooked me up with that. I can't remember what's on it right now, but it's same. It's the stock 2.3 that's in it. You know, the predecessor to the EcoBoost. We've just put a bigger turbo on and found ways to get as much horsepower out of it as we can. It's all mechanical tuning. There's very little
Right?
computer. Everything can be tricked on it. You know, it works off of a VAM system. So you tighten the spring pressure on the VAM. You know, that's going to change your fuel flow. So you trick it. You put huge injectors in, then tighten up the spring on the VAM so that way the injectors aren't at full pulse. But if you get into high boost, then it dumps fuel. So that's how you get your mid-range torque out of it. I don't know. It's been really cool learning about it.
That's wild, man. I had no idea. You got to send me some pictures and videos of that thing.
Yeah. There's we've got a build series on the YouTube page. So if you're bored for like an entire day, I think it's like 16 parts or something like that. But
Hell yeah.
we spent like we took it out bone stock. Like, I mean, nothing done to it. Took it out to the skid pad and it's the worst understeer you've ever seen. Do you remember that Top Gear where they were driving the French car and they turn it and it just keeps going straight?
Yeah.
Same idea. But then I would do that and it would start plowing and then I'd clutch kick it and just slam into it and then I kept clutch kicking, and then finally the back end came out and then it had a posi in it, so it just started to slide and I'm like, holy fuck, like this car can do it. Like,
Yeah.
we're doing this now. As soon as I got it going a little bit sideways, I looked at my buddy that helped me with it. I'm like, you realize that we have to build this into a drift car now, right? It's like an $800 grandma car. It was.
That's so wild.
Yeah. So that's any cars that I've ever built. It's because nobody else was building them. Like my first build was like a 2002 Mazda Protege 5, which like had a little bit of a
Is
culture.
it drift car?
No.
Or
It's like
okay.
I was into show cars. Big quotes
Okay.
there before
Yeah.
before I got into drifting. So
That's funny. I thought you were gonna be like, yeah, I pulled a Papadakis and made this Mazda Speed a drift car or something like that.
funny story. I've got this weird obsession with Velosters. Like
Really?
super weird. Yeah, and I've been looking at their wheelbase to figure out what chassis I could throw the body onto because I really like the way they look. They're ugly as fuck, but I like the way they look. And
Yeah.
I want to see if like an S13 or a Miata or something, I got to find something that's got the same wheelbase so I can just take the body off and drop it on a frame. And then that I'll have a Veloster drift car.
I'll like put like the Veloster chassis like on an S chassis frame and then just call it a day.
Essentially, like even if I have to chop, what I was thinking is like chopping the floor all the way kind of around and then doing the same thing with an S chassis where it's like I'm chopping in the same area and then just dropping it on and welding the floor. I don't know. Just an idea.
Yeah.
But
Why
something
don't you
along
just
those
do
lines.
chassis?
I could. So much work. I'm a terrible welder. And my buddy who does all my welding has done enough favors for me that I'm gonna have to start paying him now, and that's not the project I want to start paying him on.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that. That'd be an interesting build though, man. I don't know if everything would line up all the way, but sounds interesting.
It's either that or I tub out the center and just turn an engine, and put a tranny in it and find a rear subframe that kind of fits. That's the only other thing I could do. That would probably be easier.
Probably. Just make like a custom transom and call it a day.
Yeah, I could. I don't really compete because I'm not very good. So it's not like
Neither am I.
Oh, shut up! Come on now. Fucking, I hate when you guys get humble on me.
Why? I mean,
You,
I don't know.
You made it. Okay. This is the conversation I've had with Paco. Matt Field and I got into a little bit as well, where it's like, and people have said it to me too, where you don't realize the echelon that you've hit, and it's so hard to accept it. You know what I mean? There's so many guys that I've talked to in a high end, like you are part of a select, maybe let's say 80 people in the world that has, or I guess it'd be more than that, maybe 150, let's say max, that have drifted at that level. Even if it was for a couple years, even if you didn't do all that great, it doesn't matter. You made it to the show, made it to the ship, right?
It, true, but I mean, like at the end of the day, I just think of myself as just like a grassroots driver that like just likes having fun, and I had the opportunity to do it. You know?
I'm so happy you said grassroots because I need to get your opinion on that whole thing.
Okay.
So, what I'm of the opinion that the term grassroots can coexist with pro. Like in any type of racing, in any type of sport, you can have the stupid, crazy, extreme level, which is FD, and the super level entry, which is like, the open drifting with, dad's BRZ. I think those things have no issues coexisting. And for some reason right now, everyone's like, oh, this is the best way. Oh, this is the best way. And then there's guys in the middle that are saying the same thing. And it's like, why can't we just have all of them? Why does it matter?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, that's an interesting topic too. I mean, to me, like grassroots, like when I started drifting, I didn't start to be like, oh, I'm going to be a pro FD driver.
Yeah.
Like I never thought that. When I started drifting, I didn't even know what the hell Formula Drift was. I was just like watching it, like every other story. It's like I watched some option video, and saw drifting, and then like my friend in high school was like an international student, and he's like showed me clips of drifting. I was like, yo, this shit's rad as hell. I'm gonna try it. So I think like part of the grassroots scene is like you started in grassroots, you never had like a dream to do it. And not saying like having a dream to do it's bad, but it's just like, yo, this is why I like it. It's fun with friends. It's affordable. It's not F1 where you need tons of money.
Yeah.
And it just so happens like I started out at Club Loose in, Jersey. And I sucked, dude. Like I remember the first time I went on track, I crashed into a wall, like head on.
No way.
And, yeah. And my friends never let it go. My dude, John Wagner, he followed me. He's like, yo, I'm going to follow you. I was like, okay, cool. And it was like probably like my second time tandeming. And I just fucking stuffed it into a wall. And I was like, oh, cool, drifting. This is rad. Because my friends are going to help me fix it. And then we're going to go back out on track. But like, just as you progress, like you start to obviously getting like more into the drift world, see, drifting in different regions, competitions. I don't know. It's tough because I went to FD, but I don't think of myself as an FD driver. I think of myself as like a grassroots driver. Like perfect example, we'll say like myself, Ryan Littoral, Matt Fields, Chelsea Denofa, like even Forsberg, Turek, like all these drivers, like, we compete in FD, but we also go to fun events and shitty cars and have fun with everyone else.
Yeah.
It's not like where like sometimes I'll test my car, like my old comp car at Club Loose, but like for the most part, I'm bringing like a 400 horsepower car. Sometimes even like the Hoonigan Z mom car, which is like 200 horsepower at best, But then you have other drivers, we'll say like Tanner Faust, Sam Hubenet, the bigger names, Reese Millen, that run an FD, but they won't come to like drifting isn't their main focus, like stuff like that. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, and they're yeah. I know what you're saying. I'm just trying to think of the best way to say it without making myself sound like a total douchebag. Drifting for them is a means to become famous, and I don't mean that in a negative light because people are like, "Oh, you become famous." They think of it as, I would love to be famous. I'm one of those people. That would be my dream. I'd be so, and I'm sure I'd get there and be like, this is terrible. But they used it as some. They wanted to be the best at something. They're the best at that. Tanner Fest, great example. I'm the best at this. Now I'm going to go do that, and then I'm going to be the best at that, and then I'm going to go do this, and then I'm going to be the best at that. The only thing he's not the best at of all the things he's tried is growing facial hair. He's terrible at that. But everything else he's really, really good at. But I think you guys like you and Chelsea is probably the best example of the guy who's just like fucking put his head down. Didn't I don't know, he might have complained, but like didn't make a public, oh, woe is me, all this shit, and then just got given an amazing opportunity and is now like just grabbed the bull by the horns and is humping it into submission. Like if that dude doesn't win a championship in the next 5 years, I will be so fucking surprised. But Vaughn and Chris and Ryan, they're all, I would say they're grassroots guys in the aspect that they're doing it for the fun, and them being pro drivers gives them more means to do more fun things. You know,
Mhm.
Vaughn's motto is "I'm a professional fun haver." So I know what you're getting at with that. So I just think that the term grassroots is so convoluted and so it's got a lot of stigma behind it because people think grassroots means that you can't be serious about what you're doing,
Mhm.
or it means you can't spend a lot of money.
Yeah, that, or it's like you can't, would say like quote unquote sell out, get sponsors or something like that.
Yeah,
Like, but at the end of it, dude, like honestly, if you ask every driver out there, yo, would you take a sponsorship? Like, if they gave you, say, free tires or they gave you money or free product, if they said no,
they're a liar.
they're lying.
Yeah. There's
They're
probably
straight
a
up lying.
handful of hippies out there like, no, man, I do it for the purity of the sport. And it's like, okay, that's cool. Have fun being broke and smelling funny.
Yeah.
But most of us would be like, you want to give me free tires? You want me to put a sticker on the car? Fuck it. How big do you want your sticker?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they'd be lying if they said they wouldn't take it. I
Yeah.
mean, it is what it is, but I don't know. Grassroots is just like always going to the events. Like, go to these events and you talk to people and you don't, I don't know, you just chill like a normal person. Like, if you come to a Club Loose event, you'll see me kicking it, driving it with like my friends, people I don't know.
Yeah.
You'll see me like partying at the bar after hours. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Well,
um,
Grid Life's the best example of that. It's the purest blend of grassroots and pros. It's pros being grassroots drivers in pro cars. They're given the
yeah.
opportunity to drive a pro car as if they were doing it at a grassroots event.
Yeah, yeah, no, Grid Life is super awesome. That's like, I can't tell how many people, like, that's the hands down best event ever.
Yeah.
Like, after Grid Life 2016, the first year at Grid Life South,
Yeah.
if I stopped driving after that event, like drifting, I'd be cool with it. Because,
Right.
like, I don't know how you can top that event.
You probably don't know this, but I zip tied your bumper back on at that event. That was me. I don't know if you remember it, but you're just leaving the
When?
pits, and this is 2016 in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were leaving the pits on, I want to say the Saturday, but I'm not sure. And the front bumper was dragging because the zip tie wasn't done up enough. And I was like, oh, I got you. And I just like, went up
Oh,
and like,
holy shit. I remember that. I remember
and I
that.
was
That
like,
was
yeah, and you were like,
thanks,
just
man.
high fived quick. And I was like, that was Geoff Stoneback. That was awesome.
Yeah. Dude, I remember that because I pulled out and then in my head I was thinking like, fuck that bumper, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, hold up.
That was me.
And I was
yeah.
like, yeah, dude. I was like, thanks, man.
Uh,
No, I remember that. That's funny.
But like at that
Yeah.
time, to get back to the whole like you don't know how big you are kind of thing, I was like super starstruck. I like went back to my camping spot. I'm like, dude, I just did up Geoff Stoneback's bumper, and my friend's like, oh, that's fucking awesome, man. Like that's
Yeah.
shit like that. People don't realize. And then it took me until I was at Atlanta last year at Grid Life, and someone came up to me and like, you're Jacob from Pistonhead, and I was like, yeah, what's up, man? He's like, man, I watch all your shit. And I'm like, people
Yeah.
watch that. like I know there's numbers that go up when we post videos, but like you forget that each one of those numbers is a person who's sitting there staring at that screen looking at what you've done.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's definitely crazy, man. Like, with everything on the internet, you know, you could post something and it could influence someone in some way where they like, if they ever had the chance to meet you, they probably want to hang out with you all day, you know, and talk and just get to know you.
Yeah. And shit like this is my way of getting to be able to do that where I'm like, hey, I got a podcast, we got a bunch of downloads. Come on.
Yeah.
Like just you want to shoot the shit for a bit and talk about cars and shit.
Yeah, no, it's super awesome, man. I just love like chatting with people like local, over the internet, whatever, and just like talking about cars, bullshitting about cars, and whatever else, you know.
Yeah.
Like that's what I feel like the whole community should be. Whether you drift, drag, hot boy stance it, you know what I mean? Like
Wow,
at the
you
end
can
of the
put the
day,
stance guys in too. Jeez, you're accepting.
I know. Well, yeah.
No, there's an art to doing that. I'll give them credit. People shit on them, but it's like, man, that's a lot of work to get that kind of fitment. Like that's a lot of math that they don't know that they're doing.
I know. And sometimes I'm like, what the fuck did they do to that car? But I'm like, that's cool. But personally, I'd like to drift it.
Yeah.
You can't drift it like that. So I'd be like, whatever. But
It's not gonna work.
no, I mean,
You got no lock.
yeah, no, yeah, definitely. It's like I can't even go to 15 degrees angle.
Yeah.
But no, man, I just love the car. I just love cars. I just love people that love cars. That's it. You know, everyone always thinks like, oh, FD driver. I'm like, nah, I'm Geoff. I like cars. It's like my name's Geoff. I like cars. You know.
It's so true. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird addiction, man. Like heroin would have been cheaper and a lot safer. That's for sure.
Cheaper for sure. I
Yeah,
don't know. That's
that
safer.
whole okay, minus fentanyl,
Yeah.
I think heroin would have been safer.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, but I mean, Grid Life. Grid Life is that event that I look forward to every single year.
You're coming back, right? We gotta have beers.
Yeah.
Or Jamin, we'll have some whiskey. I'll bring you some Canadian whiskey.
Oh man, is it as good as Jameson? If it's not, if Jameson's my jam. That's all I drink.
Just nothing else, huh?
Nothing else. So if anyone listening, if you ever see me, we're partying at Grid Life, Jameson shots. That's it.
Okay, good to know.
Jameson shots only.
I'll see what I can do. We have really good rye. Like there's some really good rye up here. So I'll ease you into it. It's not quite Jameson, but
Is there maple syrup in it since you're from
holy shit!
Canada?
Did you not see? Okay, so when I did a podcast with Paco and Sam at Road Atlanta last year, and we were doing shots of whiskey and maple syrup.
No, what the fuck, man?
Yeah,
Thanks for
dude.
the invite.
I don't know, man. I just saying. You know,
Yeah,
I'll be there next year. I'm already booked to go. So, well, I guess this year.
yeah, hell yeah.
So I'll
Yeah,
be.
we'll have some Jameson and maple syrup shots.
All right, I'm down. I'm down. They asked me at the border, like, you got anything to declare? And I'm like, shit. Should I declare all the maple syrup I'm bringing down? Like,
I know, right?
Paco
Yeah,
said his got taken at the airport when he went to fly home.
what he probably just put it in his bag.
I think he
Like,
put it on his
not,
carry-on. Yeah.
what a noob.
Ah, fuck Paco. I know he listens to this too. I hope he listens to this.
Does he?
I'm
Okay.
actually he does. Yeah. I don't know if he listens to every episode dedicated, but every once in a while he'll like send me some show notes and he'll be like, "Hey man, this is what you can, like your audio level at this point." I was like, "Oh, cool, thanks, dude." So
Yeah.
him and I talk quite frequently now. So
Yeah, I like Paco. Paco's awesome.
yeah, I'm flying down April 22nd to spend a week at his house.
No way.
Yeah, we're trying to work on something to. I'm gonna try and get one of his cars running, just at least one of them.
You ever see that video on Facebook where it's like the old Southern mothers? Like,
No,
and they're always like, bless their hearts. But bless their hearts has so many different meanings. This
no,
is
I
like a
haven't seen
bless
that.
their, dude, I'm gonna send you a link on it, but they're basically like, I don't know, some things like where they say like bless their heart, and their interpretation is like that guy's a fucking idiot. And then there's like a couple where I don't know, something dumb, and they're like bless their hearts, and they're like that girl's a slut, like just something like super vulgar,
I
but they're like,
gotcha.
yeah. So I'm saying bless your heart in that situation. Good luck getting
I
these
just
cars in.
I just like wrenching, man. I love turning wrenches, and it doesn't matter if it's my car, my friend's car, my mom's car. I tell people all the time that they'll be like, "Oh man, I just got this bill from my mechanic." I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing going to a mechanic?" They're like, "I just spent
Yeah,
six
right.
hundred dollars on brakes," and I'm like, "Fuck, six
I
hundred
know.
dollars." I'm like, I would have done it. I would have done it for like beer and pizza. Easy. You buy the
Yeah,
parts, beer and pizza. I'll have like 8 guys there. Two of them will be working. The other 4 will just be like fucking making fun of them. We'll get it done
yeah,
the weekend. It'll be fine.
yeah, yeah. No, exactly how it is. Like, I don't know. I have 3 older sisters, so they always ask me to work on their car, and like 2 of them I will, one I won't. But like if a friend needs help, like coworkers and stuff at work, I'm like, oh, I need to do this to my car. I was like, yo, come down the shop.
Yeah.
Like I'll let you use the space. I'll help you out where I can. You know what I mean? I just like working on stuff too. I mean, there's some times where I'm like, yo, fuck that. I'm not touching it type jobs.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we've all done those.
yeah, but for the most part, I'm just a guy that loves cars, love working on cars, breaking them, fixing them, spending money on them, driving
Yeah.
them
It's the money
a
part that
little.
sucks.
I know, man. The money part sucks, but you got to pay to play.
Yeah, that's for sure. That is for sure. So the big question on the table, what are the plans for 2018?
Man, 2018, I'm just focusing on work right now.
Yeah.
Man, I wanted to come back to FD this year, but just too much stuff on my plate. I need to
You
like,
could have came back last year and gotten like 31st guaranteed. 31st guaranteed.
I know, and I thought about that. I thought about like, all right, I'll just go Friday for qualifying, and then just do top 32. But at the same time, I was like, just came off a little rough year, in
Yeah.
16, and I was just like, man, I don't know if I want to do this.
Well, it's a
And
whole you jump fucking balls deep into a brand new chassis with a different type of engine than you're used to running. Like it's Man, that's not an easy thing to do. And then be like, oh, compete at the highest echelon of this sport with a chassis you barely know and an engine that's not meant to do what it worked. Obviously, it works really well, but like completely different than what you're used to.
Yeah.
I think you're beating yourself up a lot for what would take most people 3 to 4 years to get into.
Yeah, no, and going back to like my buddy Dan. Dan's like been with me from when I was like, I want to start doing pro-am.
Yeah.
He's helped me throughout the years, still does, but like we were just thinking like, all right, like we're teamed up with Forsberg, it's a new car, like you're a driver, so you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, like I didn't podium, but I still like advanced 3 places from last year.
Yep.
And that's hard to say because if you think of like June Meng and a Z4, that was no good. Essa struggled a little bit in that Camaro. Pretty much anyone when you hop into a new car. Now, granted, that car was already built, but it's like as a driver, you're hopping into something that I've never driven before.
Except for Osbo for some fucking reason.
Yeah, but that dude's a machine, man.
That's frustrating. It frustrates me to watch him drive because I'm like, just what's going on? Something's got to give.
Yeah.
Like I'm one of those drifting conspiracy theory people where I'm like, man, there's like traction control going, and Papadakis is too damn sneaky not to let like if anybody's I respect that dude a lot, but if anybody's gonna pull some shady shit, it's gonna be Papadakis.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
They put rules in for that guy.
They
built rules for that guy.
Yeah, they definitely. I mean, he's just on top of his game, whether he does or doesn't. At the same time, like Osbo rips. You never really see him make a mistake. The only thing that like sucks, and like this is what Mad Mike brought up in one drivers meeting. He's like, "Yo, you guys got to let us run these lines how we run them." You know, referring to like how the track's laid out, because you'll see. Perfect example. Mad Mike went to Osbo. Was like, "Yo, if you put Osbo in a Supra at Gotville, this dude would fucking go lock to lock, not give 2 shits, be still consistent." But then you see him in FD, and he's driving, you know, with say half the amount of angle.
Yeah, because he knows he needs to keep up, and he's got to keep that forward grip and keep the proximity, or he's going to try and run away from a guy.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
That's the competition of it.
Yeah, like and Forrest Wang too. You know, you take Forrest Wang.
Yeah.
Oh, that dude rips, man! Like just backwards entries, like lock to lock, billowing smoke. Like that's what drifting is. And I don't know. One drivers meeting was just brought up, like, yeah, this track's like whack. You know, and I never mean to bash FD or anything like that, but that track sort of was whack. You know, I don't remember what it was. I think it was Texas.
Okay.
Just the way that you have to run this line, it's like
you got to hammer through that middle transition. You just like there's no angle you can get in there.
Yeah, they put like the touch and go spot or the outer zone in some weird place where like you could reach it if you had 1,500 horsepower, or like you got to run super shallow. You know, and that's where it was like drag racing. But you know, it is what it is. They fixed it, which is good, but you know. And
that's kind of what I've heard across the board is like at least they're willing to listen to what the drivers are saying because it's a new sport and they're always trying to progress it and get it better. I think it would be neat to have a little more style brought back into it now that it's progressed to a point where all of the entire field is outstanding. Like before, I would say in the last 5 years have been where we now have, in my eyes, professional drivers. Before that, it was like guys who were really good at drifting, but they weren't like professional. There was no professional consistency. You know, the cars were consistently breaking down. The teams were like not mismanaged, but like nobody knew what the fuck they were doing. And now we've got years of experience. We can look at all these tracks, how they've been run for years and years, and go, okay, this is what's worked. Let's start to shift this back to a more of a showy kind of thing. Let's get the angle back into it and stuff like that. So it's ebbs and flows. It's got to go to the drag racing to then come back to the crazy angle, and then guys are going to be like, it's too slow. Like I can't keep that angle. There's no way to do it, and then it'll go back to drag racing, and then. I'm hoping that's how it goes.
Yeah, I hope it stays style.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. No, I totally hear you. Well, it's you know the legendary horsepower wars, right? When everybody started, it's 1,000 or nothing, but that's what happens in any sport, you know. F1 had the same thing. That's why they keep changing engine design because somebody masters the engine and just fucking owns for 2 or 3 years, and then they're like, okay, we're getting rid of the V10s, we're going to a turbo V8 and then turbo V6s, and eventually there'll be 4 cylinders and 4 turbos.
I know. Then it's going to be like Hayabusa motors only.
I'd be cool with that, man.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean, going back to FD, I'm not doing an FD this year, but I plan to return in 2019. That's my plan.
Shocking news.
Yeah.
Call
I
the
mean,
presses.
not shocked.
Hang on, I'm texting Formula Derp right now. Just gonna let him know.
I'll text him too.
Do you?
Should we group text him?
Who's your? I don't know why I'm whispering because there's lots of people listening, but who do you think? Do you have a theory as to who Formula Derp is?
I mean, everyone has a theory.
Everybody talks like I'm 80% sure, and then I'm like, who is it? Like I'm not saying because I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, we'll talk off air, and then they're like, I think it's this guy, and I'm like, okay, and then I talk to somebody else, I think it's this guy. I'm like, nobody has any fucking clue.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's tough. Yeah. I mean, everyone always thinks who it is, but I think there's more than one person.
I think so too.
Not saying I'm Formula Derp.
No.
For a while, everyone thought me and Pat were Formula Derp. We're like,
Pat Gooden?
Yeah.
I can see Pat doing it. I don't even know, but I'm like, from the little bit that I know of him, Pat would do it.
I know. I could see him sitting at home, like with his cowboy boots on and his Dale shirt, drinking a Bud Light, just
yeah.
You know what I mean? But
I thought it was like the Team Rowdy guys for a while until I met Brooks Church, and then I was like, he's too nice.
Yeah, I know. I mean, for a second I thought it was them, but
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who it is. It should remain a mystery.
I kind of like it. I do.
Yeah.
I do like it. It's kind of a sober second thought too. And sometimes it goes too far, and sometimes it says stupid shit, or she says stupid shit. You know, to be inclusive. But there are times where they make a post, and I'm like, you know what? That was needed. That was definitely needed.
True, but I mean, I don't know. If you get mad at something, it's just the internet at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, fuck. You can't take it serious.
No.
You don't know who it is. It could be like a 12-year-old kid, like, doesn't know shit. Like, blah. You know? Mm.
Yeah, whatever. It's funny though. I every time, like, I've got it on my notification thing. Every time Formula Dirt posts, I'm like, whoa, what are we in for?
I know, right? I'm a little bummed. Like, I haven't seen anything about like new builds or anything like that this year. He's staying pretty quiet.
His last one about that person. The post about Chris and Ryan losing the hand kook and nameless within a week, and they're like homeless. Oh my god.
That one is a little savage, but
that was savage, but it was kind of funny. Like,
what's
it
funny?
sucks.
I mean,
I don't want to be in their shoes, man. Like, I'm sure with those guys, you know, they had tire companies the next day, like, hey, just a heads up, like, sure we could work something out.
Yeah, that I don't know. I mean, Ryan's like a good friend. I still consider Chris a friend. So I was like, oh shit, like those dudes are going to be struggling. So, I don't know. I don't know if they figured anything out.
I've already heard rumors that it's pretty much done. It's just a matter of the signatures at this point.
What is it, like Maxis or something?
I didn't get brand names. I can't get that deep, but I heard there was two companies and you know.
To be honest, it's probably Nitto.
I would think so. Yeah, that'd
like,
be cool to get like Drift Alliance back together under the Nitto brand. I
know they need Tony Angelo though.
D'Angelo, he's busy. He's busy being a TV personality, Jeff.
I know, but I mean, Tony's in a good spot right now. So
yeah. Did you guys get to like reunite? Be like, hey, guess what? We're working together, kind of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Tony and I had a shop together.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, for like a year. He moved into my shop. That's why I got rid of all the skate park ramps. It was for you, Tony, you dick. No, but like, so like, long story short, we moved in. And like, this guy next door was like my old fabricator, and me and him had a little falling out because he like overcharged me on some job, and I was like, "Yeah, just get the fuck out of my shop right now. I'll talk to you later," type deal.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, he's been sour, and he's like butt buddies with like the owner's son. So you know, slowly and surely, the owner's like, "Yeah, you guys can't be here." And I know it sucks because like me and Tony had like a legitimate spot. It was huge, like worked for both of us. Dan was there. We had a fab guy in there and stuff like that. And we were sharing a shop. It was cool. You know, it was always good seeing Tony. He's like a good friend that always helped me out. But like last October, landlord was like, "Yo, you guys got to go." We're like, "Why?" He's like, "It's just not working out. Like you and this other guy like don't get along." I was like, "Yo, I'm only here like 2 days out of the week sometimes. I'm always like busy working or traveling. He's like, yeah, I know. I'm just like, whatever, dude. But we got another shop. Tony got one closer to his house because we're like 45 minutes apart.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but yeah, no, Tony's a good guy. He's funny, man. I like Tony a lot.
He's on my list of people I'd love to get on the podcast because
Yeah.
just to chat everything from like muscle cars to drifting and that whole progression to like becoming not, well, I guess technically TV now, but like a personality, as a professional personality.
Yeah, yeah. No, he's killing it what he's doing. And the funny thing is, like, I would consider him. He's a grassroots driver.
Yeah.
You know, he'll go and do his thing with Motor Trend and still come to the track like the next weekend.
Yeah. Is he still active drifting?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He still have his FRS, his fishtail CUDA.
Oh man, that's sexy.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got a missile car somewhere. But
In the backyard.
I know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
No.
just a 240 with the hatch that won't close.
Yeah, I know, right?
The ultimate missile car.
Right? No front fenders or anything.
Yeah, exactly. So how did speaking of Motor Trend, how'd that all go? That was a pretty neat little series that you and Matt did.
Yeah, it was fun. It was definitely different. And like the experiences were cool. I wish Matt and I had more input towards the show.
Yeah,
Like what
that's
we could
always
do.
the case, man.
Yeah, but I mean, it was an awesome experience. Like from working with like Motor Trend, the producers, the filmers, the sound guys, like all those people are just like genuinely good people. And like Matt and I were like, man, like we're getting like paid to do this, but it's like, yo, it's like we're hanging out with friends. Like I don't know, it's just crazy experience. And like traveling and meeting different people, seeing different types of like motorsports is cool.
Yeah, and hanging
Yeah.
out with Savannah Little is not terrible.
No, it's not. I mean, I'm married, so my
I'm just gonna say, like, look around, left, right, is the wife home?
Jeez, good thing I got these headphones on.
Yeah. I know. No, I showed my wife the other day. I'm like, you gotta see this lady, and she's like, well, I'm like, this is a woman who is seamlessly transitioned from being a absolutely gorgeous model to racing, and say what you want about her ability, she's still learning, all things considered. But marketing wise, she's a fucking genius.
Yeah, no, she's definitely a good driver too, and she's super cool. Like,
Yeah.
met her at Grid Life, drove her car for that episode, and like even like kicked it afterwards, hung out and stuff like that. And like every time we're at events, we're like, yo, hey, what's up? Like, what you been up to?
Yeah.
So it's cool. Like, she's definitely a cool chick. I feel like I don't know. I feel girls get shit for like being a quote unquote car girl.
Yeah, because it's like either they're the car girl who drives like a Mitsubishi Lancer that's barely lowered with shitty rims, and then people are like, oh my god, that's amazing. And then there's the girls who are legitimately into it, and it just happens to be that they are a girl. That's the only thing. Like they are a car person that happens to have tits. And
Jesus Christ, man.
Well, no,
UTC, dog.
no, like I dated like a legitimate car girl before my wife now, and if she was a car person, she has her mechanic's license. That's all she wanted to do is drive cars, build cars, and it just happened to be that she was a girl. And I feel like Savannah Little is one of those people where she just happens to be incredibly good looking, but she through and through is a car person.
Yeah,
So-
for sure. And she works on her own stuff too. So it's like,
Yeah.
like I don't know why you guys are like bashing anyone.
Yeah,
Even
there's no reason for it.
Yeah, even if like someone doesn't work on their cars, you shouldn't bash them anyway. They still like they might not know, might not have time. You don't know backstories, but they still like cars.
Yeah,
You
well,
know?
Matt Farah is a great example of that. There's a dude who cannot wrench. Corey
Who is
Hosford,
it?
Matt Farah, Smoking Tire.
Smoking time. Oh.
You don't know who Matt Farah is?
Dude,
Seriously?
shit. I
Dude.
feel like a dickhead.
That's all right. It's all right. He runs
I'm-
like one of the biggest car YouTube channels out there. It's called the Smoking
Really?
Tire. He's a professional car journalist. Owns a bunch
Oh.
of
All right, I thought you were talking about some drift kid or something
No.
like that.
No. Okay.
Yeah, I know who
Okay.
you're talking about. Yeah.
Corey Hosford. There's another one. There's a guy who's yeah, and he admits to it. He's like, I'm not a good wrench. Like, I'll sit there and make jokes, and that's his thing. But if you can't wrench, you need to find a way then to get your car built. So there's either the people who are very, very good at marketing and sponsorship, who are like, look, I can't build this car, but I'm really good at talking and getting people to spend money on me so I can have a car built. And that, in my mind, is as much of a skill, if not more, than wrenching in some cases.
True. Yeah.
You
No,
know
I
what I mean?
agree. Yeah.
They're business people that are really into cars, and their way of learning their way of getting into the sport is by knowing people and meeting people and building business connections, and that's how they get their shit built.
Hmm.
Or they just came into
Yeah.
a ton of money and they can just spend it willingly. I have a friend like that who's,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, he's got a bunch of money. His dad has a really big business, and his dad pays him a ridiculous salary, and all he spends it on is his race car.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
people get mad about that, but it's like, hey, nobody, you know, he's not going to, given that opportunity, most people aren't going to be like, no, Dad, don't pay me all this money so I can race cars. I want to do this the old fashioned way.
yeah.
That's the situation he's in. He's just a little bit luckier than somebody else.
Yeah. And you can't hate on that. I mean, but if the guy or girl has like a crappy attitude, then it's like, yo,
Then you can hate on it. You
whatever.
can fucking shit all over them. But if they're
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I'm just a race guy who happens to live with a family that has money.
Yeah.
It's not his fault that Dad's big into something. I don't want to name specifics because
Yeah.
people are
No,
like,
I
I
mean,
know who that is.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't mind it. You know, it's like, I don't ask. I don't care. Like, do you like cars? Cool.
Yeah.
That's how I am.
Yeah,
You know?
another good one's Rob Fietti, Super Speeders.
Yeah. Okay.
Dude, he actually, I when I first like heard about this guy, I'm like, oh man, this guy's got all these cars, didn't even fucking do anything with them or whatever, you know. And then I heard him say something where he's like, look, I'm good at making money. That guy's good at building cars. I make my money and I give him that money so he can build me cars. And I was like, that's a good point. He goes, why would I try and wrench myself and I'm shitty at it? And he goes, I'm good at making money and that's how I get this car. And I was like, fair enough. I can't argue with that logic.
True. But there's also a point where like, all right, I could waste my time building this car, but I'm also wasting time not getting money.
Yeah, fair enough.
And that's a, exact reason why.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I have MA Motorsports and like RT Tuning do stuff for me here and there. And it's like, yo, I don't have time. Like I'd rather spend my time making money instead of not making money and getting frustrated. You know, but then there's times where I'm like, yo, I got this chassis. I'm going to like build it from the ground up. Cool. But like perfect example, tuning. I can't tune for shit. I don't want to learn how to tune. I mean, I would love to, but like I don't have the time. So I'd rather just, pay MA to tune my cars.
It's not worth the engine.
Yeah, I know. My FD motor is like super expensive, and if I like screwed that up, I'd probably like jump off a cliff. Like no lie,
It'd suck. You'd be like, that's that. Yeah. Everybody knows that moment when you realize you fucked up real bad, and it cost you a ton of money.
It was at this moment, like,
dude, the first engine I ever built, I accidentally bought stroker rods instead of normal rods, and like heads on, everything's bolted down, going to set the timing, like clunk. I'm like, huh, okay.
Yeah.
And I go back the other way, and I make it to the same spot, clunk. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And we loosen the head off, and as it's loosening, it passes by. I'm like, what? And I look at it, and it's like a 1/16 of an inch, and I'm like, what the fucking, how would this happen? And like, we're going through everything, and then someone's like, what rods did you buy? And I look at the rod measurement, like, oh my God, they're stroker rods. Oh my God. And I literally had to overnight parts from Japan. Like, it was like 3 days, but the shipping cost me more than the rods did.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was brutal.
What kind of rods were they?
K1s, I think.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Damn, man.
Yeah, dude. It was Wiseco pistons and K1 rods, I believe. And then I ended up going with M-Tech rods instead, because
really?
K1 didn't have them in the stock length. They only had the strokers.
Oh, okay.
And then I guess there's some guy who worked at K1 who then started M-Tech, or I don't know. There's some weird politics. This is years ago. That was my protege. Yeah. That was like the first engine I built was on that car.
That's funny.
I went through like 3 engines on that thing.
Really?
Yeah. FSDE 2-liter, man. They were awesome.
Was it the same part like all the time?
Yeah. What would go? Connecting rod 3 would go through the windage tray. Like if you went over, if you kept the stock engine, if you didn't go forged internals on those, it was like 300 horse or something. No, it was 10 psi on the stock turbo. That was the limit. If you went,
oh my God,
the stock turbo would go like 15 psi, but if you ran over 10, it was a time bomb. And some guys got like a day, and some guys got a year. But eventually, connecting rod 3 would go through the windage tray. And I was like, yep, 15, got it. Boom, month later, gone. And I was like, okay, put the new engine in, swap over all the turbo parts. 15 psi. It's like 3 months later, boom. I was like, I should probably forge one of these.
Yeah. That's funny. I thought you were gonna be the guy that was like, "Oh, one day."
Yeah, no, yeah, it was a learning experience to say the least. And that was the first engine I ever built, and then yeah, stroker rods.
That's funny.
That was fun. Yeah, it's good times. Not a big fan of building engines.
I mean, V8 ones, like I don't mind building like Chevy V8s. They're simple. Like you could do one like blindfolded.
Yeah.
Other motors, yeah. You know.
2Js seem to be pretty easy. I've helped build one, and it seemed pretty like easy to put together.
Yeah, and it's awesome that they're non-interference motors too.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
So if you fuck up, like you're like whatever.
Yeah.
Well, depending on the situation.
Yeah, it depends on what kind of fuck up. Like you put the bearings in wrong. Doesn't matter what kind of interference it is. that crankshaft is shot.
Right. I mean, there's a difference though. Like I'll take a block to a machine shop, have them assemble the lower end.
Yeah.
So I know like everything's good, but I myself won't do that. I won't assemble it because I'm like, man, if something happens, it's on me. You know what I mean?
It's hard to warranty yourself.
I know. But it's also one of those things where it's like, all right, like I know I can put a head on a block, I can do timing, I can do whatever, but like I'd rather spend my money and make sure it's done right and make sure I have no issues and not waste my time.
Yeah.
You know, one of those situations.
Yeah, fair enough. So here's one for you. This is a question I get a lot because I have an uncanny ability to get companies to give me free parts when they really have no business doing it. They shouldn't. How tough is sponsorship for you? Is it like there's some guys I talk to who are like, man, it's a fucking struggle. It's a grind. I'm constantly to put myself out there. And I talk to other guys who are like, I don't know, man. It just happens. Like I just start talking to a guy and next thing I know, there's brake pads at my door.
Yeah. It's tough at first, you know. I think one of my first sponsors back in the day was Ken of the Tires.
Okay.
And I was paying for him, you know, but it was at a discounted rate. And Teen Coilovers sponsored me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So like it was cool because it's like, all right, like when I started getting into cars, I was like, oh, Teen Coilovers, I want them. So I got them on all my cars, and then it was just super cool to be like, oh shit, I'm sponsored by them now.
As you're wearing a BC coilover shirt.
Yeah, well, I mean, times change.
Times change, yeah.
You know,
I like black better than green.
I do like black better than green. But I mean, at first it's tough because, like, example Pro-Am, I was like, hey, like, my name's Geoff Stoneback, I drive Pro-Am. I was looking to get like free parts for, real estate on the car. And they'd be like, who are you?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just a Pro-Am dude trying to, save on my budget. And they're like, we can give you like 10% off, or we can give you 20% off, something like that. And I'm like, well, you know what? Fuck, I need it.
Yeah. Can you do cost? Can
I know, right?
Can I get jobber rate at least?
I know. They're like, nah. I mean, somewhere. But it's tough. You really just have to make a name for yourself. And you also have to be able to like present yourself in front of these people, through phone calls, emails, face to face. You can't look like a dirty drift kid. You know what I mean? If you show up like, yo man, I don't give a shit, give me free parts, I want this, they're gonna be like, get the fuck out.
Yeah, these people are at work. Like, I think people forget that. Like, when you talk to somebody about sponsorship, that is their job. And they are at work when you're doing that.
Yeah. Like, my suggestion is if anyone's out there listening and trying to get sponsors and they're already in Pro-Am, semi have a name, make sure you got your eggs in one basket, come prepared, be polite, proofread your shit like 4 times.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure it sounds good. And, like, don't BS them. Like, be straight to the point. I don't know. It's hard. It definitely is hard. But now it's something where, all right, like, my name's branded. I don't talk shit online. I don't bash anyone online. Like, seriously, that's, like, a thing. Like, there's amazing drivers out there, but can't land a sponsorship because what they say online, what they post online.
I know one in particular. Stupid, crazy, amazing driver, insane car, just fucking talks the craziest shit. And I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, and I've talked to him about it. I'm like, why? He's like, oh, it's fun. And I'm like, okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do, man. Live your life. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. But you got to go in the mindset of like, yo, if they want to sponsor me, I have to, one, prove myself that I can handle stuff online, handle, marketing side on them, delivering their needs, um, but also be serious about it.
Yeah.
I imagine at work, like at people's companies, they get hit up every day by 20 different drivers.
Yeah.
And like some come prepared with a proposal, some are like got a Word document with pictures, and they're like, "Look at my car." You know what I mean? I don't know. It's tough.
I've gotten sponsorships with like a really well written Word document, like just to the point, numbers, everything in it, professional format, and it's like, and people are like, oh no, you gotta do this crazy thing, and I'm like, not always. Like it depends on what you're good at. If you've got a dude who's a graphic designer that can put together something in Publisher or whatever that's like 4 pages, has all this data, crazy effects and shit, awesome. If you can't, find someone who's just really good at writing and put together a fucking killer email. Like just a missile of an email. Keep it short, couple of paragraphs, maybe get to the point right off the bat, get them intrigued, and then detail everything else out. End with a killer conclusion. Make sure there's data. That's also a good way of going about it.
Yeah, definitely. And like a lot of people have to understand, like you might get a deal where you get 20% off retail.
Yeah.
Take it, work with them, show them that you can do your stuff, then ramp it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Year by year, you know what I mean?
Under promise and over deliver.
Exactly. And it's tough, man. It's tough just because it's a huge saturated market. I don't know.
Do you get a lot of it at work? Like, do you get a lot of people that hit you up at turn 14 or?
Some people, but I'm not in marketing. I'm in sales. So
okay. It's not like Di's calling you up and be like, man, I need like a couple more bumpers.
No, I mean, if Di calls me up, he's like, hey, what are you doing? Where are you at? Let me drive one of your cars.
What are you wearing?
Yeah. No, Di's a good friend. He never calls me at work. It's always like text message or on the phone or something like that.
Oh, cool.
But no, I mean, I have some of my customers ask me for sponsorship, and I'm like, yo, man, straight up, I don't do that. It's not my department. Otherwise, you email me, Geoff Stoneback at Turn 14 Marketing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I get it sometimes at work. I don't ever ask what marketing gets because I'm sure they get blown up like every single day.
Yeah, I've had drunken conversations with a few of my sponsorship reps, and I'm like, dude, how do you do that?
Yeah.
It's fucking, you've no idea what I deal with. A friend of mine works for a magazine. He's a writer for a magazine, and he gets people every day just like, oh, you got to get me in your magazine. Oh, you got to get, like, constantly. And every once in a while, he'll be like, man, you got to see this fucking email. This is amazing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, dude.
This dude is like, he's like, yo, I got that. And like, it's, I think a lot of people think it's super, super easy to do. And it's one of the most difficult things in the world to separate somebody from their money based on a promise that you're going to do something awesome.
Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely. I was going to say something about that too.
Sorry.
No. I forget. No, it's definitely hard. What'd you say?
I get talking a lot. I just love to talk. So.
Yeah. No, it's just funny. I mean, I don't know.
It's a crazy. I always like to ask, the guys in the industry, just because that's the question I get asked fucking all the time. Like, oh, how do I get a sponsorship? And I'm like, look, man, if you're asking me, you're asking the wrong person. You need to be, find somebody at a company and be like, look, man, I really want to drive for you. What do I need to do? What do you need from me? And if they're like, look, you need to put together this, this, and this, then do exactly what they say, and then 30 to 50% more.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, anyway, so what? I think we got to, thank you, by the way, for posting up. I posted on Instagram at the wrong time of day, and the new fucking algorithms are brutal if you don't have like 10,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah, but, Instagram sucks, man. All social media sucks these days. Man, it sucks.
Hard being a pimp.
No, but it's like, all right, so before Instagram decided to like change, you would see stuff by time.
Yeah. Facebook,
so you would literally see like all the people you followed by time. Now it's like, dude, I don't see it. I see maybe 10% of what I really want to see.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this sucks, man.
Yeah.
That's why I like sometimes I'm like, I don't even care. I don't want to post. I don't want to look at it.
Well, you posting that one thing just to kind of kiss a little more ass here. You posting that one thing got me like 15 new subscribers like within 2 minutes.
Oh hell yeah, that's
Yeah,
sick.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
like I posted something like ask Geoff a question, and I was like crickets. I'm like awesome, and then out of nowhere I was like, huh, my phone's blowing up. I'm like look, and I'm like, oh, Geoff tagged me, awesome. And then I was like
Yeah.
fucking 15, 20 questions. Like okay, that's how this works.
Yeah. No, it's definitely tough, like with that whole algorithm shit. But the cool thing about, I guess, Instagram is like, and social media is like the whole like Fred Lump situation.
Dude, yeah.
You know, which I fucking hope they find him, man. Like, it's sad. It's sad, man. Like, but seeing everyone post about it and seeing everyone that cares, like, that's why I love drifting.
Yeah.
Because it's a whole community. Like, no matter if we're in East Coast, West Coast, Europe, Japan, everyone's just like, yo, this dude's missing. What's up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just anything you can do. Yeah. And quick shout out to that. I'll put a link in the thing here. If anybody wants to help out with that, if you're listening to this, I guarantee you know about the Fred Lump situation. We don't really need to get into it. Kind of don't want to drop the mood too much. But if you want to help and you have no way you don't know how to help, throw $5 in, throw 10, whatever you got, dollar. Help that family out, man. That dude was the breadwinner, and he's got kids, he's got a wife, and they got bills to pay. So if nothing else, if you've got a couple of bucks, like, fuck, man, don't buy a coffee today. Go, help them out.
Yeah, exactly.
It's it's fucked up. It's I was going through old emails and I didn't even I don't know him. I've never met him, and I've talked to him once, and it was through an email, and I pitched him a proposal. Funny enough, when we were doing our Miata build, and I was going through old emails and I saw it and I was like, oh fuck, man, that's the dude. Like, it was right as it happened too. I was sending out more proposals for another project, and I was going through and I was like, oh, I contact this company. I got their email, and I look and it was like Ernie. And I was like, whew, and that's when it hit home for me. And I was like, shit, all right, I'm gonna go pitch some money. Like I'll share all this stuff on my thing. Like, yeah, this is a real dude. This is a human being. That we have no idea where the fuck he is.
I know, dude. It's super scary, man. And like anyone that ever's lost someone or something like that, like just brings that feeling like, oh shit, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Lost anybody in any aspect. Like it's
yeah.
So, anyways, a bit of a downer on that one.
But that's the one good thing about social media, man, is like that helps out. But
yeah, that's huge, and hopefully that this all comes to a positive conclusion, or at least any it sounds shitty, but any conclusion, just have some type of ending to this whole thing where we figure out what's going on.
Yeah, definitely, man. But definitely.
Anyways, on a positive note, maybe we'll get to a couple questions here because some of these are pretty fucking funny. I'm gonna start off with this one from Jim Bisey 62. I don't know if you know him, but
Busy.
Yeah. He wants to know what your favorite brand of underwear.
Favorite brand, American Eagle, man.
Yeah.
American Eagle.
This isn't a MeUndies plug.
Briefs, long.
Yeah.
Nah. This is fuck. I can't even say.
Like 4
this
inches?
podcast has been brought to you by
American Eagle.
No, American Eagle, man, just briefs, long briefs. I like them.
Yeah, you need the support where you need it, but not the riding.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing worse than bunched up boxers.
I know.
Yeah.
Fucking shimming in a chair all day.
Somebody asked, will we ever get back in FD? I guess we kind of covered that. Hopefully for 2019, that's the plan.
Yeah, that's my plan. I mean, I was going to come back this year, but, just like what I said before, I don't know. Like going back to it, like the whole Forsberg situation.
Yeah.
It put a sour taste in my mouth. And like me and Chris are cool, but at the same time, when I signed up with him, I was like, cool. Like, hopefully it'll be like a deal that Chelsea has now where I drive like multiple years.
Yeah.
But halfway through the season, I was told that I wouldn't be returning, and it's not me as a driver. It's, just other things. And I was like, look, I'm driving with like the best driver in the world, with the best team in the world. And if it's not working out, then I quit.
Yeah.
And at the end of the season, I was like, man, this is some bullshit. Like, I wish I had another year because I would fucking shred in that car. Like the whole year was a learning experience until Texas. like Texas and Irwindale's when I was like, yo, I'll fucking shred this thing.
Yeah.
But you know, like me and Chris are cool, like no hard feelings. It is what it is.
It's business.
But I was just like, yeah, it was business. But you know, my daughter was starting school this year. I got that gig from Motor Trend. Work at Turn 14 was going good, and I was just like, look, I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna put my eggs in one basket, focus on this for a little bit, work on my stuff, and then I'm gonna come back in something different.
So do we know what you're coming back in? S chassis,
No,
maybe?
no, it's actually it wouldn't be an S chassis. It would be a Nissan. I was talking with Jerry Yang, who built Robbie's car.
Yeah.
And you know, me, him, and Robbie were all talking, and I was gonna come back in that thing, but I sort of like was just like, shit, I can't come back this year. Just family stuff, the whole shop move, stuff at work was just like,
yeah, family comes first, man.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was blossoming where it was like, all right, I don't have a job, I have a career, and I'm going to take my career to the next step, focus on stuff, get that down, and then, you know, if everything's cool, they agree, then I'll come back. So that's my plan, 2019, come back. You know, I'm stoked Forrest Wang's coming back, man. Like, I love Forrest Wang. That dude rips. I love his style, everything about him.
Yeah.
So that was a motivator, but yeah, next year I should be back.
Cool. No, that'd be wicked. That'd be wicked. Hopefully I'm famous by then, and I can, you know, get my media passes and get flown all around, and I'll be the next Sam Nelvin. Let me know if you need. Let me know if you need a Sam Nelvin. I can do that. I can be super surly. I'll dye my hair gray. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, be my Sam.
Be my Sam.
You got a bottle of wine though. Bottle of wine.
Oh,
you know?
Fuck. I'm a rum drinker. I don't really like wine.
Okay, we'll just put your wine bottle.
Okay, I can do that. That. Yeah. I usually drink rum out of a water bottle, so people at work don't know. No, I'm just kidding. I work in sales, man. I'm allowed to drink on the job.
Just saying I do. No?
Yeah, I know. It was like, yeah, my boss is probably listening. Like, hey, man, what's up? I swear I don't drink that much.
Friday. Yeah.
Favorite FD track? I'm gonna say Atlanta. That's what everybody says.
Atlanta, I like Atlanta, but now that Grid Life has Atlanta, I don't. It's like that's not necessarily an FD track anymore.
Because now you can shred the S's.
Yeah. Oh
which
my
is
god.
Scary as fuck.
It's so good though, dude. Like top of fourth gear, and you're just like holding on. And like the cool thing about Atlanta and Grid Life, I was doing like the FD course, but skipping the horseshoe.
Yeah.
And my car has no windows, obviously. My visor was up, and going underneath the bridge, I was going so fast in fourth gear that it was pulling my head back with my visor up. So I had to shut my visor, and then I could I was literally like looking like this. I shut it, and then I could
That's funny.
There's no resistance. But favorite FD track, I would say Atlanta, Texas, Seattle.
Yeah. Seattle?
Yeah. I like Seattle.
That's one.
I don't know. Something about Seattle, man. Like, I just like Seattle.
Interesting. I know a bunch of the people listening is going to be super pissed, but the first time I ever drifted, was at Road Atlanta in that diesel Miata.
No way.
Yeah.
You're about to lose followers, man. There's so many salty people that want to drive Atlanta. And the first time you drift was at Atlanta.
In that diesel Miata. That was the first time I ever drove in Atlanta.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We're going to shut the show down.
Yeah.
No?
Well, the people listening regularly have heard this story a couple of times. I'll tell it to you when we're finished up because it's a good story. If you could drive any chassis in FD, what would it be? So any car, let's say this season that we know of confirmed drivers, what would you? Any of those cars, what would you drive? Is that Matt Fields? The Corvette?
Fuck yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Matt Fields knows how to build cars.
Yeah.
Like straight up.
I'm so happy he came out with that series. Like, that really shows people. Everyone's always trying to, and he said this too. He's like, man, everybody's trying to hide their shit. He's like, fuck it. You're going to figure it out anyways. Might as well just put it out there.
Yeah. No, I like Matt. Matt's one of my close homies. I think his car, Forrest Wang's car.
Yeah, that's a wicked car.
Yeah, I drove his 14 at Street Driven. Holy shit, dude. That's like one of the best S chassis I've ever driven. Like, that's up there, dude.
Him and Garrett know how to put a car together, that's for sure.
Yeah, those dudes definitely do. Who else has cars in FD? Everyone. Like, who has cool cars? That's it.
I would love to. I'd love to take Kristaps' car out.
I was
Yeah.
thinking that too.
Yeah, I know I'd kill myself. It'd be the last car I ever
I
drive,
know.
but it'd be worth it. I go out with a smile, man.
Yeah,
Fucking
no, that
right
car's
into the
super.
wall.
I know. It's too grippy. Yeah, those three cars would be my pick. James Dean's car I drive.
Just to
I
have some like excellence rub off on you.
Yeah, dude,
You
I
wouldn't be
need
able to
it.
reach the pedals, man.
Yo, so funny story, right? Brian Bridges, who runs like Dean and ran like the whole Wardhouse crew.
Yeah.
Super good friends with him. Like everyone at FD, I'm super good friends with, and that's what like I love, and that I also miss that. But James and Peter came to Englishtown to test before Wall,
Oh.
and I was like, I sat in James's car. I'm like, James, I'm taking your car. He's like, what? I was like, James, I'm taking your car. He's like, no. I was like, no shit, dude, I can't reach your pedals. Like I literally had like a foot to reach his pedals, and he starts laughing at me.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean those cars for sure. I'd drive Forest Fields, Denofa's Mustang, Kristaps' car.
yeah. That's a
That'd be
good
the
selection. I don't think there's any car in there I wouldn't want to drive. I don't think
Yeah.
there's a single one that I'd be like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean Turk's FRS too. That thing's pretty rad.
Yeah, that thing's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
All that fire.
I know. Bap bap bap.
Oh, man.
One car I would love to drive would be Daigo Saito's fucking SC 400 or SC 430.
Just
That'd be one car I would love to drive.
just for like the whole nostalgia and heritage and insanity of it.
Yeah, I mean that thing was just like when it came to FD, people were like, what? Like that has how much horsepower? What size tire are you running? What trans are you
What did
running?
he run? Like 315 or something?
I don't remember. I think it was like maybe like a 285. I don't know if the tire rule was in effect then. I think it was. I think
Okay.
he ran like 265, but he was the first person with like 1,000 horsepower, I think.
Yeah, I thought he ran something bigger than that for some reason.
Yeah. And then he had like the Samsonite transmission where it's just like, oh, Daigo Saito, like just shifting up, 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 up,
Yeah.
down, down.
And now it's pretty standard to run that.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, dudes in Pro-Am are like building cars with G-forces and dog boxes. Like, yo, dude, spend your money, make sure your car's reliable, go travel like the U.S.
Yeah.
You know,
I
think
just toured a shop, fabrication shop, and we did a video on it. Plug. And
Plug.
the two guys there's only two guys in this fab shop, and they both just put Winners quick changes in, and they're like no competition, just grassroots guys. But they're fab guys,
Yeah.
so they're like, man, the expensive part of a quick change is building the subframe. He's like, that's the cheapest part for us.
hmm
So
Yeah. But that's also good for their business because like they can showcase that off. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
they do.
But
The cages they build, like, it's insane. They pride themselves on having tiny gussets because of how
Okay.
tight everything runs. It's incredible.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's
What
FDF
shop is
fabrication. FDF fabrication. It's in this
SDF?
little podunk town in Ontario, Canada.
Okay.
But yeah, they built my buddy Dylan's S15, and he kept full
Oh,
interior.
Dylan Sharp?
Yeah, did you
Yeah,
that
yeah.
cage, man? They're the ones who
Yeah,
built
yeah.
that cage, entire polished, no paint on it.
Okay.
The entire thing was polished and clear coated.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
wicked car too. I was just watching right before we started this. I was watching a video he just posted, him doing like laps around this little racetrack. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah,
It's like
he
a-
rips, man.
Yeah, he's a funny dude.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. Him and
The first
oh, go ahead.
the first time I met him, dude, it was him and I think like Riley Sexsmith.
Yeah, I was hanging out with
Kane?
Riley last week.
Yeah, dude, they drove like Dylan hit me up. I had this T56 for sale. I was like, yo, $1,800. He's like, yo, I'll give you 1,200 right now. I'll drive down. And then I was like, nah. He's like, I ended up selling it to him for like maybe $1,000 or $1,100. And he reminded me about this at Grid Life. He didn't even use it yet. I'm like, yo, let me get that back. But he drove down with like Riley and like two of his homies to my house in Philly overnight.
Yep.
Right. Picks this trans up. It's like 6 in the morning. I'm like, yo, bro, I just like got home partying. Like, I'm tired as fuck. I'm trying to go to bed. He comes down, picks up the trans. He's like, yo, my phone died. You got an iPhone cable? I was like, yo, man, here's an iPhone cable. He's like, yo, my car's low on oil. It's like, yo, here's some oil, dude. Like, if anything happens, call me. I'll help you out. You know what I mean? That was the first time I met him. I think.
Oh, fucking Riley.
I know, dude. Well, Riley and Dylan.
Yeah.
It's funny now. Every time I see him, we start laughing about that shit. But
Yeah, they're good guys, man. Riley's the podcast 2 before this one was with Dove, the owner of NV Auto, so the team that the guy built his car.
yeah. He's a
Yeah,
good guy too.
Dove's
I always like seeing them.
yeah, he's funny. When I first met him, it was at Road Atlanta. It was at Grid Life 2016, I think, and they were super stressed out because that was like Riley's big debut with the new car and shit, and like Dove was just like fucking stone faced the whole time. So I did a podcast with Riley a couple months after, and I just straight up, I was like, "Hey man, does Dove ever smile?" He's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Does Dove ever smile?" He's like, "Oh, he was just stressed out and shit like that." And the episode came out, and Dove like texted me like that day, and he's like, "Dude, I'm actually a pretty happy guy." I'm like, "I don't know, man. Every time I see you, you look pissed off." So
Yeah,
I just did a podcast with Dove just to prove that he's a happy guy.
that's not funny.
Yeah.
No, those are good dudes.
Yeah, Riley's a madman. He was the first guy to do what, turn 11 or 12 at Road Atlanta, like down at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Fuck man, that was insane. Well, I was standing with the flaggers on the bridge when he did it. And because he told us ahead of time, he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna do something really stupid. Go stand down there." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay." And like and 2Js have such a definitive sound, and there wasn't a lot of guys running 2Js at that event, and because, anyways, I remember hearing it, going like, "Fuck guys, I think that's Riley." And then we just see this flash of orange come over the hill, and he gets like halfway down. I'm like, "What is he doing?" And we just see them like rip the handbrake. I'm like, "Oh shit." And then it was, just sideways down, and he gets, I don't know, maybe 60 feet out from the corner and just like dumps the clutch and into it. I'm like, shit, he might outrun this corner. And like, he just came in before the kitty litter. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to watch him die. I did. I swear to God, I saw him come down. I'm like, I'm about to watch this little dude fucking die.
Yeah.
Oh man. You know what he said? You know why he did it? Because he had done it in Forza. He's like, man, that's what he said. That's what he said to Dove. He's like, "Man, I've done this in Forza a bunch of times. I can do this."
Yeah, that just shows you how wild he is.
Oh, he's so, and he's fucking. I love that dude. Every time I get to see him, I love him. He's
I
great.
know. That's funny because every time I drift down Road Atlanta and Forza, I end up in the kitty litter. I just can't drive that course. Like everyone's like Road Atlanta. I'm like, no, that sucks. It's not the same.
It's not. No, it doesn't do it any justice. The elevation. You stand at the top of that hill, like looking at Nick Swan, and it's like, oh, okay, this is like fucking 20 stories to the bottom. That's cool.
Yeah, I know, right? In the game, you're like, oh, it's flat.
Yeah,
Like,
it looks flat. It's not. Even going up to the horseshoes and uphill, like a significant uphill.
Yeah.
People don't realize that. What do we got here? What did somebody ask? Mr. Woe 40, Mr. Woo maybe. What that smell like? Do you know what that means?
Oh, Mr. 240 or something?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's it, Mr. 240. Wow, how did I not get that?
no, that's my dude. That's my dude, Adam. What's that smell?
Yeah.
Fuck, I don't know, man.
What that smell like?
What that smell like? Soy sauce and dumplings? I don't know.
Someone asked, are you going to be at Hyperfest at VIR this year?
Yeah, Hyperfest for sure. That's always a fun event. I always like going down there. It's only like 5 hours from me, so.
Where is VIR?
Virginia.
Oh,
it's like at the tip of like Virginia, North Carolina.
Oh, all right. That's a drive.
Yeah,
What
it's
do we
not too
work
bad.
out? It was like 8 hours from me to you.
Oh, really?
I think we were talking about it before. I was like, yeah, I'll come down. Because you're like,
Oh,
do
yeah,
you want to
yeah.
do you want to like meet up to do this podcast? I'm like, hey, dude, it's like 8 hours. Like I can do it if you want, but like it's gonna take me a minute.
Yeah, no, that's funny. That's funny. I was like, oh shit, my bad.
I was looking at yours. Jerry Yankrew needs a driver. Just saying. Who said that? D Cook, 1996. Shout out D Cook. Hopefully it's Dane Cook.
D Cook?
Yeah. Everybody just wants you to do a fucking comeback, man. So it's time. Please. Yeah. See, you got fans. You got
I know,
people.
man. I know. I'm not huge, like, in social media presence, but, like, my fans are loyal as fuck. And
Yeah,
that's what I love.
43,000 followers, but yeah, it's just not huge. It's little
Yeah,
shit.
no. I mean, but, dude, whatever. Like, go look at, like, Kim Kardashian, who's got, like, 20 million. Who
You
knows?
can't. That's a different league. You got to
Yeah,
compare
but
yourself to like other FD guys.
Yeah, but even still against other FD guys, I'm definitely not like the most followers, but like my fans like love me, which
Yeah.
I love them. You know what I mean?
What about Kaufman? You got more than Kaufman? Let's see this. Matt
I don't
Kaufman.
know.
Oh yeah, you got double what Kaufman's got.
Um,
We gotta get
Cough.
we gotta get him on.
Yeah, Coffin's my dude, man. I love that. I love that dude.
Yeah, I got.
Um,
He's another guy. Like keep your eyes on that dude. Like just
mhm.
as he progressed this season, I
Dude,
watched it.
his car would be one I would want to drive.
Yeah,
His car as well, because that thing rips, never really has any issues, and like he shreds in that thing.
So
Like it's so funny watching him. You'll see him leave the line in FD, and he'll just be like burnout first, second, third, fourth, initiate. Every track he does that, dude. It's so funny.
so what's his? This is gonna sound like a really shitty question. What's his issue? What's the problem? If the car is good, is he just lacking confidence, lacking experience?
No, I mean, I think like every round I talk to him, being a privateer and like just running your whole program, like, dude, it can burn you out.
I bet.
I think you sometimes with him, like especially in his early years, he was like, man, this stuff's hard. I'm like, yeah, it's hard, dude, but we're here. Like, go shred.
Yeah,
And I remember that in Canada because he finished like fourth or something like
yeah,
that.
I did really well.
Yeah. And afterwards, I was like, we were like kicking it. I gave him a beer. I was like, see, man, you just go rip. And ever since then, man, he's been on fire. Like, he's one to watch, definitely.
Yeah,
One to watch.
he's on my list of like people like this is a dude that he's got a lot of talent, and every once in a while you see it come out like him and Castro. Castro's a great example. Quite possibly the best runs in FD last season were with Castro. Him and Osbo and him and James Dean. Fuck. When I show people like the people I work with, like they have no idea what the hell drifting is, right? It's a bunch of old dudes. So they're like, well, what the fuck is this? Where do you spend all your why are you at the track all the time? What are you doing? And I'm like, look, I'm not gonna show you videos of me because that does not do it justice. But what I'm gonna show you is James Dean versus fucking Castro. Because that is the epitome of drifting.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it gives me I got goosebumps right now just thinking about it.
I know. I was watching that on live stream. I was like, I normally don't jump up and yell and drifting.
I was yelling.
Yo, yeah. I was like out of my seat, like, no fucking way, holy shit. Like, it was just insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
It was like the first time I've heard Jared Dienda like actually like break character.
I know.
I know he is who he is, and he's like the same dude, same voice and everything outside of that, but it was the first time where he's like, that just gave me chills. Like he's just not that cool, calm, collected stats and sponsors and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that dude, fuck it, I'll say it. When I was at Grid Life Midwest, I was watching. I was upstairs. I was filming in the tower, and I was just trying to get some shots and shit like that. And he's up there, and he's kind of like chatting with me a little bit and back and forth. Me trying to like hustle and like, hey man, this is what I do. Here's the sticker. And he's like noon cracks a beer. And he's drinking like beer in one hand, Mike in the other. And I'm like watching. I come back and there's like 4 or 5 beers there. And he's like still perfect. Knew everybody's sponsors. The Pro 2 guys knew all of their sponsors. No fucking notes.
Mm-hmm.
Like every once in a while
dude.
he'd have to look at his phone to like check something. But I think he was just Instagramming. And, like,
probably like doing the selfie stories and stuff like that.
Man, that dude's Instagram is wicked. I love watching it. Because I'm a family dude too and seeing how he is with his kids. Because he obviously doesn't get a lot of time with his kids, but when he does, man, he makes the most of it.
Yeah, definitely. I can feel him on that for sure.
Yeah. How's how is being the family man? Off drifting. How's the wife? How the kids? How's that all going?
Well, it's cool, man. Like where I miss FD and everyone in it, I love being home.
Yeah.
Like the cool thing is over the winter, like me and my wife built that blue S15.
Yeah.
Like just collab together. She's like, well, let's do this color, let's do this kit, let's do this wheels, and like, that was cool. It's awesome spending time with family. And like my daughter, she started kindergarten this year.
Yeah, my son did this year too. So
yeah, dude, it's so wild.
She come back with a whole bunch of like dirty habits and shit. And you're like, what the fuck do you let? You gotta stop hanging out with those kids.
No, not dirty habits, but
Attitude.
I was just worried about like her. Yeah, I was just worried about her like getting along with kids in school because like she never went to any daycare or anything like that. Like my wife like always watched her, taught her, things like that. So it was a little nerve wracking her first day, but I mean, family life, man, that's like the best. That's like honestly my number one priority right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell by the princess chair behind you and the
I
pink
know,
carpet.
dude. It's actually my chair.
Is it? Yeah, I got the same one, so I hear you. They're comfy as hell.
Yeah, but no, it's just I love it, man. Just seeing them grow and stuff like that. Because I was adopted when I was a kid,
I
so
was
I
gonna
have
get into that. I'm like, how does an Asian dude have the whitest name
yeah,
ever?
yeah. I was adopted when I was 3 months old from Korea,
Cool.
brought over here, and my parents and sisters are Caucasian, so I never had my own bloodline, and like it's crazy. So when she was born, she was actually born on the same day I was born. So I was like,
shit.
yeah, it freaked me out. But like now that I have my own bloodline, it's like I don't know, a switch hit me. You know what I mean?
Have you done any like research to figure out, the original family, or just don't care?
No, I
get
do.
too
Like,
personal, but like I'm just
no,
kind of
no,
curious.
not at all. Not at all. I like found out where like my mom was living, and I wrote her a letter when I was like 18 because I wanted to go visit her. But like the guy that she was with has no idea about me. You know what I mean? So it was,
all right.
yeah. So it's one of those things where I was just like, oh well, I sent her a picture. She knows him well. I'm gonna move on. You know what I mean? Because like,
fair enough.
yeah, like even though my mom's not my biological mom, like that's my mom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That trumps my biological mom.
I hear
so,
you. I hear you.
You know,
That's trippy though.
Yeah, no, it definitely is trippy. So that's how I have the whitest name in FD. But yeah, man, it's funny. Life's good though. Life's good.
No, that's wicked, man. It's the family stuff is like the hardest thing I've ever done. I got 3 kids now, and I know I look like I'm 12. I'm almost 30. I can't grow facial hair. Like this is like a week and a bit. So, nobody believes me. They're like, "Oh man, you just get out of college." I'm like, "I got 3 kids and a house and a dog, man." Like,
yeah, yeah. They look like you're 12. Like, no,
man. I work in sales for a living, and I actually have to like. My boss told me, he's like, keep a little bit of stubble so you look a little older.
yeah, I know for sure. It's funny because like people at work are like, "Yeah, what are you like 24, something like that?" And I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm 32." They're like, "Yeah."
Oh, cool.
They're like, "Get out of here." I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm 32, born in '86. I don't know what to tell you. I just look young."
Yeah,
it's those Asian genes, man.
It's the big cheeks too, right? I got the same thing. It's the big cheeks that make you look young.
Yeah, definitely. But I imagine when I turn like 80, I'm gonna look like I'm 200 years old or something.
That's not to sound like stereotypical, but that's like a typical Asian thing, isn't it? Where it's like you guys are awesome up until a certain point, and that just like drops.
I know. That's why I'm gonna live it up until like that happens.
Yeah, no, give her, man. I know what my dad looks like as he's gotten older, and I'm trying to keep this as long as I can. Like I know what I'm in for, and I'm like, my dad's like, not a bad looking dude, but I know what I'm in for.
Yeah. No, that's scary too. Like, because I don't know what my parents look like my biological parents. So I'm like, man,
that's a good point.
How am I gonna look like in like 20 years? I'm like, oh shit, I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, live in the now, man.
I know, right?
Seize the day, carpe diem, and all that shit.
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh fuck, man. Well, is there as much as I don't want to cut this off because I'm sure you and I could probably do this for like another 3 hours, but
I know, right?
I do have another podcast I got to get into right after this one, and I'll have to take a piss break because I'm like halfway through my giant pot of coffee. But is there anything you want to plug? Any like social media stuff? Are you doing like the YouTube series everyone's doing, or?
Man, like so I like the YouTube stuff, but I also like my nephew Javi helps me out on that. I'm gonna shamelessly plug him. Follow him on Instagram at Javi PHO, like pho.
Cool. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Love pho.
Yeah, plug it. I know it's actually called
soup.
pho.
I know it's fun. Yeah.
But it's cool. Like I like it because people can see like behind more of like what Instagram, Facebook shows you. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like I'm doing so much stuff, and when you film, say building a car or like ripping a car apart, add 2 hours on because you're filming.
Yeah, almost double the time.
Yeah. So there's a point where I'm like, man, like I really want to do this. It'd be really cool, but I've got 4 hours to do this, and I don't want to make it 6. But I am
to Philly. I got you.
Yeah, but I mean, I've been like, honestly, I started a YouTube channel. It was cool. Couple videos on there, but I've literally hoarded all my footage and like made videos, haven't released it.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, I mean, one thing that I want to focus on is like my shop, the J Block. Me, Dan, Javi, and Colin. Colin's our fab dude. we just want to start making videos of just shit we do, things we get into. And it's like not to like monetize it or anything. It's just to show you like, yo, like what drifting really is and like what we do.
Yeah.
Nothing spectacular. We're not like going out and like driving expensive cars. I mean, we got nice cars, but like we're not like trying to show you that like something that isn't real. Like we're just gonna show you how real it is, and like if you like it, cool. If not, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I hear you.
Like so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Cameron Moore like works out of a shed that's half fallen down.
Yeah. I mean that's what drifting is, the love of drifting. We don't care where we work on it. If we get it done, cool.
Yeah.
You know.
No, that's wicked. I'll if you send me all the links and stuff, I'll put them in the podcast description, and then people can check everything out.
Hell yeah, yeah. No, I'll hit you up with that. But I mean, I don't know. Just follow me on Instagram at Geoff Stoneback. Super simple. Geoff with a G. Geoff. I know. People are like, "How do you say your name?" I'm like, "Well, how do you think you say it?" They're like, "Geoff." I'm like, "Good try. Cool. Just call me that. Whatever." You know what I mean? I'm just like, I just move on with it.
I'll be your Geoff.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Just follow me. You'll see what I'm up to. Cool stuff. I'm always building cars, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always S chassis. If you like S chassis, you know where to go.
I bought some other cars that aren't S chassis. So.
No.
Yeah, I can't say what they are. That's the one thing I can't say what it is.
I got you. I got you.
They're from the motherland, you know. So.
From the motherland. Alrighty, man. Well, I really appreciate this. I got to take a quick piss, refill my coffee, get into another podcast. But this is wicked, and maybe we'll do it again before one of the events, or do it at one of the events, or I don't know.
Let's do it at one of the events after we had a couple drinks.
There we go.
It'd be funny.
Yeah. We'll switch.
We'll
I'll drink Jameson.
PG-13.
I'll drink Jameson. You drink something else. We'll go switch.
I'll drink maple syrup.
Do it. That shit'll get you fucked up. You gotta be careful.
That's not funny. No, I appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Sounds good.
All right, bye. Thanks again, guys, for tuning into the podcast. We wish Geoff all the best coming up. Can't wait to see him at Grid Life, hang out, drink some Jameson. Geoff, if you're listening, first bottle's on me, but you have to remind me because I'll probably forget before then. But yeah, we want to wish Geoff all the best and everything that's coming up. Super stoked to see him and kind of hang out with him at a couple of events. Stoked to see what's going to happen in 2019. And yeah, just amazing time, and we're hoping to get some more pros in. So if you guys know any pros or know anybody that should be on the podcast, send us a line and we'll try and get them in. But thanks again, guys, for listening. Make sure to check out Pistonhead Productions on everything, on the Facebook, the YouTubes, the Twitters, all that stuff. We have new videos coming out Mondays and Fridays, new podcasts every Wednesday, and we try and have something new or old or redone or whatever on our Facebook account every single day. So make sure to check that out. But thanks again, guys, for listening. We will catch you next week.